Mommy! Jose's scream tore through the elementary school hallway like a wound ripping open. Maisie dropped the file she was holding and ran before her brain could catch up. She didn't know the child, didn't know his name or his face, or why that single word made her chest cave in. She just ran. The classroom door was already open, teachers hovering uselessly near the walls. In the corner, a small boy sat curled into himself, his whole body shaking. His eyes were squeezed shut, his breathing ragged and desperate. Maisie didn't ask permission. She crossed the room and dropped to her knees in front of him, her voice soft but steady.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, sweetheart.
I'm right here.
I'm right here. Jose's eyes snapped open, dark, wide, drowning.
I see you.
I
You're
see
not
you,
alone.
Maisie whispered. You're not alone. His lip trembled. Then he lunged forward and wrapped
You're
his
not
arms around
alone.
her neck so tight she could barely breathe. But she didn't pull away. She held him like she'd been waiting her whole life to do it.
It's okay.
It's okay, she murmured into his hair.
You're
You're safe now. The boy's sobs were silent but violent, his small frame shuddering against hers. Maisie rocked him gently, her own throat burning with tears she didn't understand. Behind her, one of the teachers whispered, "We've been trying for 20 minutes. How did she... Shh, another cut her off. Maisie didn't hear them. She was focused entirely on the child in her arms, on the way his breathing slowly began to match hers. Then the door opened again. Footsteps. Measured. Controlled. The kind that made the whole room go still. Jose. The voice was deep, calm, but edged with barely restrained panic. Maisie felt the boy stiffen in her arms, but he didn't let go. She looked up, and the world stopped. Chase Gavin stood in the doorway, his suit perfect, his expression unreadable, but his eyes, those dark, familiar eyes, locked onto hers with the force of a bullet. For 6 years, Maisie had convinced herself she'd forgotten what he looked like, the exact angle of his jaw, the way his brow creased when he was worried, the way he looked at her like she was the only thing in the room that mattered. She'd been lying to herself. Before we continue, let me ask you a question. Where are you watching us from? Drop your city and the time right now in the comments, because you need to hear what happens next. If you're new here, hit subscribe. If you've been with us, smash that like button and tell me, do you think she should run or stay? Let me know. Now, back to the story. Maisie. Her name on his lips broke something inside her. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. Jose was still clinging to her, and Chase was staring at her like he'd seen a ghost. What are you doing here? Chase's voice was quieter now, but there was something underneath it. Shock, disbelief, pain. Maisie finally found her voice. I work here. I'm an emotional support trainee. Chase's eyes flicked to Jose, then back to her. His throat worked like he was trying to swallow glass. You calmed him, he said. He needed someone. No one else could. Chase took a step closer. Not the counselors, not the teachers, not me. Jose shifted in her arms, turning his head just enough to peek at his father. His small voice was hoarse from crying. Dad, she smells like home. Maisie's vision blurred. Her hands trembled where they rested on the boy's back. Chase crouched down slowly, his movements deliberate, like he was afraid of shattering whatever fragile thing had formed between them. Jose, he said gently, do you know who this is? The boy shook his head, his eyes curious now instead of terrified. Chase's jaw clenched. He looked at Maisie, and she saw it all in his face. The years of searching, the nights he'd stayed awake wondering where she'd gone, the wound that had never healed. Is he yours? Maisie whispered, though part of her already knew. Chase's voice cracked, just slightly. That's our son. The room tilted. Maisie's breath caught in her chest, her grip on Jose tightening instinctively. Our son, the baby she'd left on his doorstep 6 years ago, the child she'd kissed goodbye with tears streaming down her face, believing she was giving him a better life. Mommy? Jose pulled back to look at her, his eyes wide and searching. Maisie couldn't speak. Tears spilled down her cheeks before she could stop them. Yes, she choked out. Yes, baby. Jose's face crumpled, and he threw himself back into her arms, sobbing openly now. You came back. You came back! I'm here, Maisie whispered, her own voice breaking. I'm right here. Chase stood slowly, his fists clenched at his sides. For a moment he turned away, his shoulders rising and falling with controlled breaths. When he turned back, his eyes were wet, but his voice was steady. We need to talk. Maisie nodded, unable to do anything else. She was still holding Jose, still trying to process the fact that this was real, that the child in her arms was hers, that Chase was standing 3 feet away, looking at her like she'd just stepped out of a grave. The teachers had quietly left the room. It was just the 3 of them now. Chase pulled out his phone and typed something quickly. Then he slipped it back into his pocket and met her eyes. My car's outside. You're coming with us. It wasn't a question, but Maisie heard the plea underneath it, the desperate need to not let her disappear again. Okay, she whispered. Chase nodded once, then walked to the door and held it open. Maisie stood carefully, Jose still wrapped around her like he was afraid she'd vanish if he let go. They walked through the school in silence. Students stared, teachers whispered, but none of it registered. Maisie's entire world had narrowed to the child in her arms and the man walking beside her. Outside, a black SUV waited at the curb. The driver opened the door without a word. Chase gestured for Maisie to get in first. She hesitated. I'm not going to hurt you, Chase said quietly. I just want to understand. Maisie climbed into the back seat, Jose refusing to let go. Chase slid in across from her, and the door closed with a heavy finality. The driver pulled away from the school smoothly. No one spoke. Maisie stared out the window, watching the city blur past, her mind spinning. 6 years. 6 years of running, hiding, convincing herself she'd done the right thing. And now here she was, sitting across from the man she'd loved more than anything, holding the son she'd given up. Jose had finally stopped crying, his breathing evening out against her shoulder. But he didn't loosen his grip. Chase was watching her. She could feel it. How long have you been working here? He asked finally. 3 months. His jaw tightened. And you didn't think to tell me? Maisie's head snapped up. Tell you? I didn't even know you had a child at that school. I didn't know... Her voice broke. I didn't know what happened after I left him with you. Chase went very still. Left him? On your doorstep 6 years ago. Maisie's throat burned. There was a note. I told you to love him, to keep him safe. Chase's face drained of color. He leaned back slowly, his eyes never leaving hers. You're the one who left him, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I thought it was the right thing to do. The right thing? Chase's control cracked just slightly. You disappeared without a word, Maisie. No goodbye, no explanation. I looked for you. For months. I tore this city apart trying to find you. You moved on pretty fast, she shot back, bitterness rising before she could stop it. Chase frowned. What are you talking about? Don't, Maisie's voice shook. Don't pretend you don't know. I don't. The pictures, Chase, the ones of you with her. His entire body went rigid. Something dark and dangerous flickered across his face. When? The morning after you promised me nothing would come between us. His hands curled into fists. I never cheated on you. I saw the pictures. Then you saw a lie. The SUV turned onto a private road, trees closing in on both sides. Maisie recognized it instantly. Her chest tightened. Where are we going? Home. Chase. Our son just had a breakdown because he's been looking for you his entire life, Chase said, his voice hard. You're not disappearing again. Not today. Maisie looked down at Jose, who had dozed off against her shoulder, exhausted. Her resolve wavered. The SUV pulled through massive iron gates and up a long driveway. The mansion appeared ahead, just as imposing as she remembered. White stone, tall windows, manicured gardens. The SUV stopped in front of the entrance. Chase got out first, then held the door open for her. Maisie climbed out carefully, Jose still asleep in her arms. The mansion loomed above them, every window a reminder of the life she'd run from. An older woman appeared at the door, silver hair pulled back, kind eyes that widened when she saw Maisie. Layla, Chase said. This is Maisie. Layla's hand went to her chest. The Maisie? Chase nodded. Layla's eyes dropped to Jose, then back to Maisie. Something soft crossed her face. Welcome home, child. Maisie didn't correct her. She was too tired to fight. Can you prepare the guest room? Chase asked. Of course. Layla disappeared inside. Chase gestured toward the stairs. Come on, he can rest upstairs. Maisie followed him through the grand foyer, past the marble floors and expensive art she remembered, but now there were toys scattered near the sitting room, a child's backpack by the door, evidence of Jose everywhere. Chase led her to a bedroom at the end of the hall. Soft blue walls, shelves packed with books and toys, a bed shaped like a race car. Maisie walked over and gently laid Jose down. He stirred slightly, reaching for her even in sleep. I'm here, she whispered, tucking the blanket around him. She stood there watching him breathe, her son, and the weight of 6 years crashed down on her all at once. Chase's voice came from behind her. He looks for you everywhere. Maisie's throat tightened. Every woman he sees, every parent pickup, he asks if she's his mother. Chase's voice was rough. The teachers told me he draws pictures of you, a woman with no face holding his hand. Tears slipped down Maisie's cheeks. He breaks down because he thinks you don't want him. I never stopped wanting him, Maisie choked out. Then why did you leave him? She turned to face Chase, her vision blurred. Because I thought you'd already chosen someone else. His jaw worked. Come with me. They walked downstairs to his study. Dark wood, leather chairs, walls lined with books. Chase poured 2 glasses of whiskey and handed her one. Tell me everything, he said, from the beginning. So Maisie told him about the envelope that appeared at her door with no return address, about the photos inside, him asleep, a blonde woman draped across his chest, sheets tangled around them both, about the way her world shattered in that moment. I left that same day, changed my name, moved to the outskirts where you'd never find me. Chase's knuckles were white around his glass. I never touched another woman. The photos were staged. His voice was ice. Someone set me up. Who would do that? Chase's eyes darkened. Ashley. Maisie's breath caught. Your sister? She never wanted you in this life. She said you'd get hurt, that you didn't understand the danger. He stood abruptly, pacing. She must have drugged me, paid someone to get in my bed, took the photos herself. Why would she do that? To protect you, Chase laughed bitterly, by destroying us. Maisie set her glass down, her hands shaking. I found out I was pregnant 2 months later. Chase stopped pacing. I was alone, broke, terrified. I worked 3 jobs just to afford a clinic. I gave birth with no one holding my hand. And every day I looked at him, I saw you. I saw the life he deserved and the life I could give him. So you left him with me? I thought you could keep him safe, give him everything I couldn't. Tears streamed down her face. I thought I was doing the right thing. Chase crossed the room and knelt in front of her chair. He took her hands in his touch gentle despite the storm in his eyes. I would have come for you, he said. If I'd known, I would have torn down every wall between us. I didn't know that. I'm telling you now, his voice broke slightly. You and Jose are all I've ever wanted. Maisie pulled her hands away, wrapping her arms around herself. I can't just step back into this, Chase. 6 years. 6 years of believing you betrayed me. I didn't. I know that now, but the damage is done. Chase stood slowly. Then we'll rebuild, one day at a time. For Jose? For all of us. Maisie shook her head. I'm not making any promises. I'm not asking for promises. I'm asking you to stay close. Let Jose have his mother. Let us figure out the rest. She looked up at him, this man she'd loved so completely it had destroyed her. Just for Jose. Just for Jose, Chase agreed. But they both knew it was more complicated than that. The next morning, Jose woke up screaming for her. Maisie ran to his room and found him sitting up in bed, tears streaming down his face. You're still here, he sobbed. I'm still here, baby. She climbed into bed beside him and held him close. Promise you won't leave? Maisie's chest ached. I promise I'll always come back. It wasn't the promise he wanted, but it was all she could give. Chase appeared in the doorway, watching them. When Jose finally calmed down, Chase suggested breakfast. They ate together at the kitchen table, Jose between them, chattering about everything and nothing. Maisie soaked in every word, every expression, every laugh. After breakfast, Chase had business to handle. He offered to have his driver take Maisie home, but Jose grabbed her hand. "Can't she stay?" Chase looked at Maisie. "You're welcome to. The guest room is ready." "I have work tomorrow." "Call in, please." Jose's eyes were pleading. Maisie looked at her son and felt her resolve crumble. "Okay, just for today." Jose's face lit up. They spent the day in the gardens. Jose showed her everything. The treehouse Chase built, the pond where he fed fish, the flower beds Lila tended, and the whole time, Maisie felt pieces of herself coming back together. That evening, Chase came home early. He found them in the living room, Jose curled against Maisie while she read him a story. "How was your day?" Chase asked quietly. "Perfect," Jose said, yawning. Chase met Maisie's eyes over their son's head. Something passed between them. Understanding, hope, fear. When Jose fell asleep, Maisie tried to leave, but he woke up immediately, panicking. "Stay," he begged. "Please, Mommy, stay." Chase stepped in. "Why don't you come back this weekend? We could take Jose somewhere, make a day of it." Maisie hesitated. "Just the three of us?" "Just the three of us." Jose bounced on his toes. "The amusement park. Can we go to the amusement park?" Maisie couldn't help but smile. "Okay, this weekend." Jose hugged her so tight she could barely breathe. The weekends became routine. Maisie would arrive Saturday morning and they'd spend the day together. The zoo, the aquarium, the park. Normal family things that felt anything but normal. Jose blossomed. His teachers reported he was calmer, happier. The breakdowns stopped. And slowly, carefully, Maisie and Chase began to find their way back to each other. Not as lovers, not yet, but as co-parents, as people who'd once meant everything to each other and were learning to navigate the wreckage. One Saturday, after a long day at the amusement park, Jose fell asleep in the car. Chase carried him inside while Maisie followed. "Chase, please, Layla made too much food anyway." Maisie found herself agreeing. Dinner was quiet, comfortable. They talked about Jose, about his progress, about the small moments they'd each missed. After dinner, Jose woke up and stumbled downstairs, rubbing his eyes. "Mommy, can you stay tonight?" Maisie's heart clenched. "Baby, I have work tomorrow." "Please, just tonight?" Chase stepped in. "I can have fresh clothes brought for you, whatever you need." Maisie looked between them, her son's hopeful face and Chase's careful neutrality, and felt her defenses crack. "Just tonight," she said. Jose cheered. An hour later, Maisie found a complete outfit laid out in the guest room. Pajamas, clothes for tomorrow, everything in her exact size. She changed and came downstairs to find Chase and Jose watching a movie. Jose patted the couch beside him. "Sit with us, Mommy." Maisie sat. Jose immediately curled into her side, and for a moment it felt like a family. Halfway through the movie, the front door opened. Footsteps, heels clicking on marble. Maisie looked up just as Ashley Gavin appeared in the doorway. Ashley froze. Her eyes locked on Maisie, and for one brief second, something like guilt flashed across her face. Then it was gone, replaced by ice. "Well," Ashley said coolly, "this is unexpected." Chase stood immediately. "Ashley, not now." But the damage was done. The tension in the room was suffocating. Jose pressed closer to Maisie, confused by the sudden shift. Ashley's eyes never left Maisie's face. "I see you found your way back." "Ashley?" Chase warned. "What, I can't welcome our guest?" Ashley's smile was sharp. "Welcome home, Maisie. I hope you know what you're walking into this time." Maisie stood slowly, her body tense. "I know what I'm walking into." Ashley's eyebrow arched. "Do you?" "That's enough," Chase said, his voice deadly quiet. Ashley held up her hands in mock surrender. "I'm just making conversation." She turned toward the stairs. "Don't let me interrupt your little reunion." She disappeared upstairs, her footsteps echoing through the mansion. Jose looked up at Maisie, confused. Why was Aunt Ashley mean? "She wasn't mean, baby," Maisie lied, stroking her hair. "She was just surprised." But her hands were shaking. Chase sat back down, his jaw tight. I'm sorry. Don't be. Maisie forced a smile for Jose's sake. Let's finish the movie. But the magic was broken. The tension hung heavy in the air. Later that night, after Jose had been tucked into bed for the second time, Maisie stood on the balcony outside the guest room. The city lights stretched out before her, cold and distant. She heard the door open behind her. Couldn't sleep? Chase asked. Too much in my head. He stepped beside her, keeping a respectful distance. Ashley will come around. Will she? Maisie turned to look at him. Or will she just find another way to tear us apart? Chase's hands gripped the railing. I won't let that happen again. You didn't let it happen the first time. She did it anyway. I know. His voice was rough. And I'm going to deal with her. How? I don't know yet. He turned to face her fully. But I know this. I'm not losing you again. Or Jose. I've already lost 6 years. I'm not losing another day. Maisie's breath caught. Chase. I missed you, he said quietly. Every single day. I looked for you in every face, every voice. I convinced myself you were dead because that was easier than believing you'd chosen to leave. Tears pricked her eyes. I thought you'd betrayed me. I know, and whoever made you believe that stole everything from us. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, his hand cupped her cheek. But we're here now. That has to mean something. Maisie's resolve crumbled. She leaned into his touch, her eyes closing. Tell me you feel it too, Chase whispered. I do. God help me, I do. He pulled her closer, his forehead resting against hers. Stay, really stay, not just for Jose, for us. Maisie wanted to say yes, wanted to believe they could rebuild what had been destroyed, but fear still gripped her heart. I need time, she said. Chase nodded, though disappointment flickered across his face. I'll give you all the time you need. The next morning, Maisie left early. Jose cried, but she promised to come back next weekend. She tried to return to normal life. Work, her small apartment, the quiet routine she'd built, but everything felt hollow now. 3 days later, Chase called. There's someone here, he said, his voice tight. Someone you need to meet. Who? Just come, please. Maisie's stomach knotted with dread, but something in his voice made her grab her keys. When she arrived at the mansion, Chase met her at the door. His face was pale, his jaw clenched. What's wrong? Follow me. He led her to the study. Inside, a blonde woman sat in one of the leather chairs. She looked nervous, her hands twisting in her lap. Maisie froze. She recognized that face. From the photos. From 6 years of nightmares. Who is this? Maisie's voice came out strangled. The woman stood. My name is Zoe. Chase stepped beside Maisie. Tell her what you told me. Zoe swallowed hard. I was paid to get into Chase's bed 6 years ago. He was unconscious, drugged. I just laid there while someone took photos. The room spun. Maisie grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. Who paid you? Chase demanded. Ashley Gavin. Maisie's knees buckled. Chase caught her, guiding her into a chair. Why are you telling us this now? Chase's voice was ice. Zoe's hands shook. Because Ashley never paid me what she promised, and now she's threatening me to keep quiet. She pulled out her phone. She texted me yesterday, said if I ever came forward, she'd make sure I disappeared. Chase took the phone, his eyes scanning the messages. His face went dark. Where is she? He asked. I don't know, but she's coming here. She said she needed to handle something. As if on cue, the front door opened. Footsteps echoed through the foyer. Ashley appeared in the doorway of the study. She saw Zoe and went completely still. What is this? Ashley's voice was controlled, but Maisie saw the flash of panic in her eyes. The truth, Chase said coldly. Zoe stood. Tell them what you did. Ashley's mask cracked. She looked at her brother, then at Maisie. Get out, Zoe. Not until you pay me what you owe. Fine. Ashley pulled out her phone and made a transfer. There, now leave. Zoe checked her account, nodded, and walked out without another word. The silence that followed was suffocating. You staged it, Maisie said, her voice hollow. You destroyed everything. Ashley didn't deny it. I did what I had to do. You lied to me. Chase's control finally snapped. You let me believe she left because of me. You let me raise our son alone, wondering where she was, if she was even alive. I was protecting her, Ashley's voice rose, and protecting you. From what? From this life, Ashley's composure shattered. Do you know how many times I've watched people we care about get hurt? Killed? This world devours everything good, Chase. I wasn't going to let it devour her, too. Maisie stood slowly. So you decided for me. You took away my choice. Ashley's eyes glistened. If you had stayed, you would have died. Someone would have used you against him. Someone would have put a bullet in your head to hurt my brother. Her voice cracked. I saved your life. You ruined it, Maisie said quietly. You took 6 years from me and my son. You made me believe the man I loved had betrayed me. You made Jose grow up thinking his mother didn't want him. Ashley flinched. Get out, Chase said. Chase, get out. Ashley looked at her brother, then at Maisie. Something like regret crossed her face. Then she straightened her shoulders. I'd do it again, because you're still alive, and that matters more than your forgiveness. She walked out, the door slamming behind her. Maisie sank back into the chair, her whole body shaking. Chase knelt in front of her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You didn't know. I should have. I should have seen it. Maisie touched his face. She's your sister. You trusted her. And she destroyed us. No, Maisie's voice steadied. She thought she was protecting me. She was wrong, and what she did was unforgivable, but I understand why she did it. Chase stared at her. How can you forgive her? I'm not forgiving her. I'm just choosing not to let her win. Maisie stood. I'm choosing us. Hope flared in Chase's eyes. Does that mean? It means I'll stay close. For Jose, for us. But Chase, she took a breath. I can't live in fear. I can't raise my son in a war zone. If this life means constant danger, constant threats, then I can't do it. Chase's jaw tightened. I'll keep you safe. That's not enough. I need boundaries. I need normalcy. I need to know my son won't grow up ducking bullets. What are you asking? I'm asking you to choose the life or us. Chase was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. I'll step back from the dangerous parts. I'll find a way to protect what matters most. Can you do that? For you and Jose, I'll do anything. Maisie exhaled. Then we'll try. Slowly, carefully, but we'll try. Chase pulled her into his arms and held her like she was the only thing keeping him alive. Upstairs, Jose woke from his nap and called for them. They went to him together. He smiled when he saw them both. Are you staying, Mimey? I'm staying close, baby. Forever? Maisie looked at Chase. We're working on it. That night, after dinner, the three of them sat in Jose's room. He fell asleep between them, peaceful for the first time in his life. Chase watched their son, then looked at Maisie. Thank you. For what? For coming back. For giving us another chance. Maisie reached across Jose and took Chase's hand. We all deserve another chance. From the hallway, Lila watched them through the cracked door. She smiled softly, then walked away. And somewhere in the city, Ashley sat alone in her penthouse, staring at a photo of her brother. She'd done what she thought was right. She'd saved Maisie's life, but she'd also lost her family. She didn't regret it. She just hoped someday they'd understand. Back at the mansion, Maisie stroked Jose's hair and felt something she hadn't felt in 6 years. Hope. The end. So here's what I want you to understand. Love without truth is just a beautiful lie, and protection without honesty is just control in disguise. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones who thought they were saving us. But real love gives you the choice. It doesn't decide for you. It doesn't manipulate. It stands beside you and says, whatever you choose, I'm here. Maisie could have run again. Chase could have forced her to stay. Ashley could have kept lying, but they all chose something harder. They chose truth. And truth is messy. It doesn't fix everything overnight. It doesn't erase 6 years of pain, but it gives you something to build on. What do you think? Should Maisie have forgiven Ashley? Could you forgive someone who destroyed your life trying to save it? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you're watching from and what you would have done in her position. And if this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because next time we're diving into something even deeper. See you then.